live on LinkedIn,
Should be
live on Twitter.
Just about everything soon.
Fantastic. Live on Twitter, live on LinkedIn. Gonna rock and roll here. Live on the group. Like and share the show, viewers and listeners. Like and share the show. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. We have live on YouTube. We do have a response from the chapter president of Turning Point USA at Western Albemarle High School. We're going to play his response to lead the show. His response as it applies to Allison Spillman, comparing his organization to the Ku Klux Klan, that topic on today's show. We're going to talk about a storyline with the $6.2 million purchase at 2000 Holiday Drive and how it will impact Charlottesville, Virginia on today's program. We're going to talk Jay Jones. Jay Jones has suggested that Virginia politician and his family should be shot. I mean, Jay Jones should drop out of this race, right?
Yeah, I hear a lot of people saying that this was just a joke, and I think we've all had quite enough of inflammatory, quote unquote, jokes, and just straight up, social media. Essentially turning people against each other and potentially inciting violence.
We'll talk about it on today's program. Like and share the show. We'll talk Virginia's victory over Louisville as well, guys. A lot to cover on the Monday edition of the program. J-Dubs, we are ready to rock and roll on the program here. Live on my personal Facebook. Tag a friend. Let a friend know that the show is live. We're talking important topics on the show. Tag a friend, text a friend, let them know now that the show is live and the topics we're going to cover on the program. Today's an important program. A lot of important topics on today's program. The Spillman topic, it's just the beginning. The next school board meeting is Thursday, and goodness gracious, Spillman has created a hornet's nest with her words. I mean, she's absolutely created a hornet's nest for her words for Albemarle County Public Schools. We're going to talk about that on today's program. Let's rock and roll, Judah, when you are ready.
Quiet on the set. Stand by for a countdown.
Nice. It's like how NBC 29 and Monticello Media do it. Welcome to the I Love CVille show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on a Monday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. A lot we're going to cover on the program, including now an official statement from Western Albemarle High School and its Turning Point USA chapter. This is a chapter at Western Albemarle High School of minors, of high school students. And they have now offered an official statement on social media as it applies to Allison Spillman and the Albemarle County School Board member Spillman, her comparison of Turning Point USA, Western Albemarle High School, to the Ku Klux Klan. We are going to air in totality the statement from Western Albemarle High School student Noah Coffin, who's the president of Turning Point USA at Western Albemarle High School. We remind you, the viewer and listener, that this Thursday, there's an Albemarle County School Board meeting where Allison Spillman is going to be on a dais in front of an auditorium that most certainly will be absolutely crowded with people on both sides of the fence. And Allison Spillman, ladies and gentlemen, has created a hornet's nest with her word choice. Whether you agree or disagree with Spillman, whether you think Spillman's comments were taken out of context or Spillman's comments were absolutely in a disgusting context, one thing we can all agree in is that Allison Spillman's word choice has created a hornet's nest and a whirl of negativity for the school system that she represents and the school system that she was elected to lead. No one can disagree with that. Her word choice has created an absolute hornet's nest in a den of potential destruction for Albemarle County Public Schools. We're going to air the statement from Noah Coffin, the Western Albemarle High School student, the president of the Turning Point USA chapter at Western Albemarle High School, on today's show. We're also going to discuss the $6.2 million purchase of 2000 Holiday Drive that is a potential future campus and epicenter for the houseless community locally. That $6.2 million deal, which is on paper, goes before council tonight. There's two meetings where this will be discussed. One, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, and one about a month from now where there's public comment that's going to be offered. This is an opportunity for the city to create a potential solution for the houseless population and how this population is managed in hand-up capacity. We'll talk about that on today's show. We have to discuss Jay Jones, Cheese Louise. We have a lieutenant. We have an attorney general candidate, and Jay Jones, who in 2022, just a few years ago, texted a political colleague about shooting then House Speaker Todd Gilbert and his children. Why Jay Jones, a former Norfolk delegate and one-time assistant attorney general, would choose to text Delegate Carrie Coyner of Chesterfield text messages where Jones describes the scenario in which House Speaker Todd Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head, followed by Jay Jones's wish that Gilbert's children die in their mother's arms. That was in the text message from Jay Jones to a political colleague, Carrie Coyner of Chesterfield. These comments, these text messages are now coming to light. Of course, they come to light about a month removed, ladies and gentlemen, from a very competitive attorney general race where Jason Miyares, the incumbent, is seeking another term. What was Jay Jones thinking? And how far does this stick to the rest of the candidates on the Democratic ticket? A lot to cover on today's program. This is commentary, this is strategy or lack thereof that is reminiscent of Terry McAuliffe in his loss to Glenn Youngkin, where he said not once, not twice, but 3 times that parents should not play a role, active role, in their students' public school education. Just absolute incompetence. We'll talk about that on today's show, and we'll talk the Cardiac Cavs surviving on the road against Louisville. Virginia now a top 20 football team. They head into the bye week, and they're favored for every contest left on its schedule. Virginia football in a driver's seat halfway through the regular season to contend for an ACC championship and potentially a college football berth, a playoff berth. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. What a wild time to be alive. I want to give some props and attention to Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes here in Charlottesville, Virginia, on the downtown mall, their office. Custom hardscapes and outdoor living spaces, Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes, online at oakvalleylh.com. Custom hardscapes to fit any landscape and purpose, no matter how complex your hardscape installation may be. The Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes team can deliver a beautiful custom outdoor living space for you to enjoy. Judah Wickower, studio camera, and then we will weave you in with a two-shot. I mean, there's more content than we can fit in the headline rundown. There's the Peter Chang news that broke last week. There's how Blue Ridge Area Coalition for the Homeless and Patcham and the Haven will respond to this $6.2 million shelter. There's Tony Elliott going from outhouse to penthouse. There's so much content on the program that we don't have enough headline space to cover the storylines in our fine and fair community. And you know what? We're going to try to do it. We'll do our best. Which headline most intrigued you and why?
Oh man, so much to talk about. I was really impressed with the the president of Turning Point USA at WAHS, Noah Coffin. His message was succinct. It was far more mature than anything we've heard out of Allison Spillman, and I appreciate the fact that these kids are continuing. They must realize that Allison Spillman is not the only one in the school system that feels this way about them as young impressionable growing students. To realize that the school board and others are think of you the way she does has got to be at times disheartening.
Absolutely. I would like for the viewers and listeners that watch and listen to this show to consider the impressionable feelings, the teenage mentality, the teenage mindset of knowing that school board members, that the superintendent of Albemarle County Public Schools and his staff and lieutenants, that many in this community are linking their efforts as the Turning Point USA chapter at Western Albemarle High School to that of the Ku Klux Klan. And you say, wait, what do you mean the superintendent of schools, Jerry? Dr. Matthew Haas. On Friday, Dr. Haas issued a statement which was co-signed by the school board chair and the school board vice chair. Mm-hmm. And this statement issued by the superintendent and the two chairs of the school board did not offer any kind of apology, did not distance Albemarle County Public Schools from Allison Spillman's comments, did not say we do not stand with Allison Spillman and her link of the Ku Klux Klan to a student group at Western Albemarle High School. Yeah. All Matthew Haas's statement that was co-signed by a school board chair and vice chair did was offer word salad, almost as if it was written by ChatGPT, no apology, and no distance from hateful, nasty, divisive rhetoric from at-large member Allison Spillman. So without further ado, what you will see and hear, ladies and gentlemen, first on the I Love CVille show, and I see print, radio, and television watching this program now, I encourage the Daily Progress, Charlottesville Media Group, Monticello Media, NBC 29 and CBS 19, CVille Weekly, and CVille Tomorrow to follow our lead here and to take the statement we are about to air from Noah Coffin on Instagram on the Western Albemarle High School Turning Point USA branded account and turn it into content for your old media and legacy media news cycles. Judah Wickower, please play Noah Coffin, the chapter president of Turning Point USA, and his response to school board at-large member Allison Spillman.
Good evening. My name is Noah Coffin, president of Turning Point USA at Western Albemarle High School. As many of you are aware, school board member Allison Spillman made comments comparing our chapter in Victoria Cobb to the KKK. Her words were completely inappropriate and unfounded. But I want to make one thing clear. This only makes us more determined to stand up for our chapter and all of the values that we represent. These comments have drawn national attention, including coverage from Fox News. The upcoming Albemarle County School Board meeting is expected to draw a large crowd, and it is crucial that we show up in strong numbers to represent what Turning Point USA truly stands for: freedom of speech, dialogue, and the courage to stand for our beliefs. The meeting is this Thursday, October 9th at 6:30 p.m. in Lane Auditorium. Please arrive by 6:15, and if you want to speak during public comments, see the link in the comments and description below. Above all, remember to love our opposition and treat everyone with dignity. Our composure and unity will speak volumes louder than any criticism. Thank you for standing strong, and I look forward to seeing all of you at the meeting.
Noah Coffin, Turning Point USA, Western Albemarle High School, chapter president. Do you see the PR nightmare that Allison Spillman has created, viewers and listeners? I want to dissect what's happening on every layer of the onion. First, the most obvious layer of the onion. And the most obvious layer of the onion is the fact that Allison Spillman, who's a school board member, has positioned Albemarle County Public Schools in the national news cycle. In a national news cycle where national outlets, if not global outlets, are utilizing the word Ku Klux Klan in Albemarle County Public Schools in headlines. And the most obvious scenario, a school board member who's an adult,
one would like to think,
has positioned a county public school system full of minors under a global magnifying glass of intensity with the words Ku Klux Klan a part of that magnifying glass. In the most basic analysis of what's happened, it's obvious that Allison Spillman's word choice has negatively attracted attention to Albemarle County Public Schools. There's not a single person that watches and listens to this show that can disagree with that statement. And I'll say it one more time. Allison Spillman's word choice has negatively attracted attention to Albemarle County Public Schools. No one can disagree with that. Now, some people are disagreeing with Allison Spillman's words are being taken out of context. Some people are saying she's not directly comparing the Ku Klux Klan to teenagers in Western Albemarle and Albemarle County Public Schools. And there's some people that are using the tomato, glass is half full, glass is half empty. There's some context that needs to be interpreted. I don't understand that argument at all. I don't understand that argument and give it zero merit. I give it zero merit. But the people who are utilizing that argument, it's context. You're taking out of context. That argument of taking Allison Spillman's words out of context is the same argument that is causing this firestorm.
it's also gaslighting.
It's gaslighting. Go ahead.
Making an outrageous statement, making a defamatory statement, saying something horrible or saying something that may cause someone to decide to enact violence, and then after the fact saying, "Oh, well, that's not how I meant it. That's not what I. That's not. You're missing the context. You're taking it out of context." I'm sorry. We have all of the context here. There is no missing context. If there was extra context, she should have added it in her initial post. She said what she meant to say, and as Jerry mentioned, the superintendent and the two chairs have done nothing to distance themselves or denounce that statement.
The superintendent and the two chairs of the school board, if anything, have fueled the fire. We're at a campfire, and it's like the Boy Scouts, and they've gone out for a weekend of camping, and the pack leader is nowhere to be seen. So one of the mischievous Boy Scouts decides to douse the fire with gasoline and fuel to make it larger and more captive and potentially dangerous. That's what the superintendent and the two chairs have done. They've doused the fire with fuel. The superintendent and the two chairs had an opportunity to dampen the fire, if not extinguish the damage. And Haas and the two chairs could have dampened and or extinguished the PR collateral damage by basically saying Allison Spillman is on her own with those comments. The school board does not stand with her comments. The school system does not stand with her comments. We, Albemarle County Public Schools, as superintendent and chair and vice chair of the school board, we support free speech. And we support healthy debate and healthy dialogue, even though we may not agree with said debate and said dialogue. This is a country that's founded on the right to free speech. And if you conduct the free speech within manners that follow the letter of the law, you're entitled to that right. The superintendent and the vice chair did not do that. They fueled it. And now, this Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen, in Albemarle County, in an auditorium right in the heart of Charlottesville, a school board meeting will be held that will be one of the most anticipated, one of the most watched, and one of the most attended school board meetings in Albemarle County public school history. That is not hyperbole. And the most dangerous aspect of Thursday's meeting, the most concerning aspect of Thursday's meeting, is many who will be in attendance will have zero to little tie to Albemarle County Public Schools. Their ties will be to Turning Point USA. Their ties will be to Charlie Kirk. Their ties will be to the freedom of speech and the right for free dialogue. Their ties could be to the far right. And when you start getting people in our community in a civic public discourse or forum that have no real ties to the community, that's when the unpredictable can happen. That's when the dangerous could happen. That's when the concerning can happen, because they're not community stewards that are a part of the discourse and the dialogue. Do you see what Allison Spillman has created? Does she have the character in herself? Does she have the self-reflection in herself? Does she have the maturation within herself to realize, geez Louise, I legitimately have positioned Albemarle County Public Schools on a global platform in a negative light with headlines covering the system that include the KKK. I'll ask the question that I asked on Friday. Is it time for Allison Spillman to resign from the school board? And how much does the Spillman stench, how much does the Spillman stink cling to Matthew Haas, the chair and the vice chair? That's where we're at now. And to Noah Coffin, and I'm going to open up the show to your comments. So if you have comments on this, put them in the feed and I will relay them live on air. Number one in the family is back in the mix. Deep Throat, you're in the batter's box. If number two in the family, John Blair, he does have comments. John Blair, number two in the family, on deck, although I think he is talking about the Jay Jones issue. I'll close with this. Whether you agree with the platform of Turning Point USA or not, you have to give Noah Coffin, the Western Albemarle High School student and the chapter president, some props and praise. Because his poise, his word choice, his sensibility, his level-headedness was obvious in his commentary and his statement. And the way he carried himself with thinking before you speak is the antithesis of one of 7 people, Allison Spillman, who have been entrusted with a $250 million yearly school budget, and most importantly, entrusted with the direction of Albemarle County Public Schools. Yeah. Comments coming in quicker than I can keep up. Every media outlet locally is watching the show as we speak. This is from Deep Throat, number one in the family. She's just not very bright, Allison Spillman, Deep Throat says, as far as I can tell. If one dislikes Turning Point USA, the optimal approach is probably just to ignore it. Saying stuff like she did just confirms their narrative. How stupid can you be? Deep Throat adds, she just got that chapter probably 10 times the support and a national profile. Deep Throat adds, congratulations, Allie. And for a white lady, Deep Throat says, like Spillman, to trade on the legacy of anti-black racism using the KKK analogy to try to push or defend the trans agenda is a pretty gross theft of moral authority.
Great points.
From number one in the family. Number 2 in the family, John Blair has comments on Jay Jones. We're going to get to the Jay Jones text messages from 2022, where he literally is putting in text message capacity that a political adversary should be shot in the head and his children should be dying in his mother's arms. I mean, what is going on in the world?
Yeah.
That these are the leaders. Kate Schartz has these comments. My friend who moved here last year said she got online looking at Albemarle County Public Schools before coming here, and she said she's glad she isn't moving here now because she would have had a horrible view of it. Meanwhile, we have a top 25 ranked elementary school, but no one sees that because of all of this drama instead. Sandra McDaniel, these comments. Allison Spillman needs to step down. As a resident of Albemarle County, I think it's imperative to give all viewpoints a voice in a club setting. What Allison Spillman did last week is very much akin to what Nikiah Walker did when she was the mayor of Charlottesville, when she compared the city of Charlottesville to a woman being raped in a poem that she wrote. The mayor of Charlottesville, just like the school board member of Albemarle County, should be the champions of the city and the champions of the school system. The mayor of Charlottesville and the at-large school board member of Albemarle County Public Schools, they can figure out ways to improve their respective organizations, the ones they are leading, but they must realize that every word they utilize, whether in poetry, whether on a private Facebook account, will be associated with their politically elected position. Mm-hmm. And when they position the bodies that they have been elected to lead in a national, if not global light and negative capacity, they've done the opposite of what they were elected to do. Janice Boyce Trevelyan's comments, her photo on screen. I think part of the problem is the misclassification of Turning Point. It is a group that is pro-American and peace, along with free speech and Christian values. It's as far from KKK as possible. Spillman has an agenda with her own child. That's what's happening here. Janice Boyce Trevelyan's comments.
Yeah, 100%. And sadly, I would argue that she doesn't know anything about the group, nor does she know anything about the students in the group, and is...
My wife thinks that Spillman, and this is just speculation, that she was just shooting off of the hip on social media while having too much to drink.
Could be true.
Because she's like, why would any sane and sensible person ever do something like that in a world called social media, where it's like printing it in the newspaper?
Yeah.
It's worse than printing it in the newspaper. No one reads the newspaper. Facebook is the world's newspaper.
Sadly.
No one reads the newspaper. They read social media. Mm-hmm. So she's like, maybe she had too much to drink that night and shot off the hip. The pushback on that, which I said to my wife, was the follow-up statement.
Exactly. She had a chance to
retract. She had a chance to retract. If anything, Spillman made it worse.
Yeah.
Thursday, this is going to be the most watched, the most attended Albemarle County School Board meeting maybe in its history. And the scary and frightening thing is, many that will be watching and many who will be attending are not actually stewards of our Albemarle County community.
Yeah, I was going to say the scary thing is that I pray that this is a well
secured, monitored.
It is.
If any Albemarle County Public School parent or if any Albemarle County Public School official is anti-metal detectors, well, you're certainly going to need them on Thursday. Because if that meeting happens and there's not clear-cut metal detector protection, then you are, I'll leave it at that. I will leave it at that. And then I'll close by saying, I said it Friday, and now I'm going to say it here on a Monday. I think it's time for the at-large school board member, Allison Spillman, to offer her resignation.
At this point, I think I'm 100% with you.
Her resignation is the only thing right now that can dampen and stifle this volatile and dangerous flame. Chad Wood, hopefully everyone acts like they have some sense on Thursday. I'm knocking on wood, I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm saying a prayer. Lord, please help sensibility and safety to prevail on Thursday evening with this school board race. Please. Amen.
Yeah.
Next headline, Judah Wickower. Put it on screen. What is it, please, sir?
Oh, let's see. Council to consider $6.2 million real estate purchase.
This goes before council tonight. A $6.2 million taxpayer spend on 2000 Holiday Drive, 3.8 acres, a 27,000 square foot office building. I think you have some slides that you can put on screen to offer paint a picture of what the city is looking to buy. Of course, this needs council approval. The first of the two readings is tonight. A public hearing will be held on October 20th, which is a couple of weeks from now. $27,094 square foot building constructed in 1964, 800 feet away from the Charlottesville area transit stop on Emmett Street. Right next to the Rivanna Trail, in the absolute heart of Charlottesville City, with a building that was underperforming, the city has found a building, ladies and gentlemen, that is perfectly primed in position for positive performance for not just Charlottesville, Virginia, not just Albemarle County, but the region of Central Virginia. I want to first offer props and praise to City Manager Sam Sanders, who realizes he has a serious problem on his hands. And I think City Council is starting to realize the problem they have on their hands. Your sales tax collections are down, and they've been down since early 2024 and into 2025. Your meals tax collections are down. Your transient occupancy taxes are down. Your foot traffic of tourists are down. Your tourism tax collection revenue is down. Your city home values are down. Every lever that Sam Sanders and City Council have to fund and appropriate a yearly fiscal budget are down. Every lever is down. Every funding mechanism is down. Mm-hmm. It took key performance indicators to be running in the red for a second consecutive year before local government sprung into action. Had local government had been listening to this talk show for that period of time, they would have known that these levers and these KPIs were heading in the wrong direction. And how do I know that? Because it's how I make my living. I listen to the folks that work in real estate, and they tell us what the values are doing. The restaurant owners are our clients. 3 of the top 6 restaurant owners in the region I know intimately. The tourism folks are our clients. They're reaching out to us. Travis Wilburn's come on the program to talk about it. The hoteliers are our clients and friends. The landlords clients and friends. We've been talking about this for 2 years on this program. We told you about this $6.2 million purchase a month ago. The information comes to us because the people in positions of power and influence, or the people at the negotiating tables, understand that the platform has influence, and they say you should relay this to your following. How this $6.2 million purchase impacts Charlottesville is in the following ways. And Juan Diego Wade, you should get a notepad and pen out, please, sir. Tonight, you green light the $6.2 million purchase, and we understand it's going to head to public comment on the 20th of October. You show significant support, Juan Diego Wade, in council tonight. You say, on the 20th of October, we're also going to have significant support. You understand that $6.2 million is a lot of money, but it's the tip of the iceberg. Millions more will be needed to outfit the 27,000 square foot office building to turn it into a shelter and campus for the homeless that includes wraparound services, beds, showers, laundry, addiction counseling, resume building, computer labs, lounge area. You champion this $6.2 million purchase, and you champion the millions more to outfit the space by highlighting that it's 800 feet away from public transportation. You champion this purchase by suggesting it's also near the Rivanna Trail, which we know the houseless population utilizes as a way to get around town and navigate our community. You champion this purchase because it's in the heartbeat of the community. It's a building that's underperforming and underutilizing. It's an asset that's going to uptick in value should the city choose to purchase it. And if the you-know-what hits the fan and the city needs to exit this holding, this purchase is not going to diminish in value. It's going to increase in value. If the city somehow manages to solve the houseless epidemic, and there's not a need for a 27,000 square foot facility on acreage right next to a major artery, the city can exit, and it can exit at return on investment. These are the terminology, the language, and the word choice, Juan Wade, you should be using tonight. Please take notes, sir. And if anyone chooses tonight or on the 20th of October to hate on this plan, to offer shade on this plan, you must, Juan Wade and City Council, push back on them and say, hey, you had a problem with the shelter in Belmont. Hey, you had a problem with the shelter in Fifeville. We're running out of spaces here. And then, City Council and Juan Wade, I'm looking at you, you're the mayor. Jen Fleischer, you're about to replace Brian Pinkston. I'm talking to you. Lloyd Snook, I'm highlighting you. You're a friend of the program, but you've been sitting kind of in the background of late, and it looks like to me you're just counting the days down till your second term's over so you can go off into retirement. You seem a lot less engaged of late, Lloyd Snook. I hope you hear that, my friend. Natalie Oshred and Michael Payne, your politics have put the city in this position, Natalie Oshred and Michael Payne. I'm talking to you. After this $6.2 million is approved, and after millions more are spent on upfit, the city is going to be all in north of $10 million on this project. And when the city is all in north of $10 million on this project, that shelter ordinance on the downtown mall, Judah, needs to go before council again. The one they tabled indefinitely, because the whole premise of that shelter ordinance on the downtown mall was they had no place to offer the homeless when they asked them to leave the downtown mall. Well, now you do.
I think that ordinance is more important to the downtown mall than this shelter will be. But
1,000% agree with that.
But this shelter is needed to get us to a place where the activists have no
reason to activism, or whatever the word is, activate against the shelter ordinance. Mm-hmm. We are at a point in society, ladies and gentlemen, where the city of Charlottesville is going to have to take more than $10 million of taxpayer money, the $6.2 million to purchase, plus millions more to outfit, just to have the leverage
to pass an ordinance,
to pass a shelter ordinance. I was talking with a heavy hitter at a squash tournament on Friday night, and I said, I'm not going to utilize his name. This is good news, right? This is good news. He's like, shouldn't the city already disallow the shelter and sleeping in public spaces? Why do we need to spend more than $10 million to get to this point? Yeah. And I didn't have an initial response to that. And then after thinking about it for a day, I should have said, well, that's the politics of Charlottesville. Yeah. And the politics of Charlottesville suggests that we need to over-solutionize problems. Mm-hmm. And some would say a $10 million taxpayer spend is an over-solutionize of a problem that seems pretty straightforward. Don't let people camp out in the business district. This is what, you know what this is called in the private sector? Then you jump in, Judah. You know what this is called in my world? This is called the cost of doing business in my world. The cost of doing business. Your point.
I think ultimately building the shelter is a good thing, but it could have been done without becoming without becoming necessary just to pass an ordinance to help the downtown mall. A shelter is a good thing. It's a good thing for Charlottesville. It's a good thing for the houseless population of Charlottesville. I hope that they'll use it. I hope they'll take what's necessary from it and accept the help. But in terms of being necessary to get the ordinance passed, it's kind of absurd.
Comments, put them in the feed. I'll relay them live on air. Vanessa Parkhill, the queen of Earlysville. Before we get to comments, we'll give some love to Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. 61 consecutive years of business. It's Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. The family that owns Charlottesville Sanitary Supply has owned and operated the company for 3 family generations. And the Vermillion family, the owners and operators of Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, they've lived in Albemarle County for 5 generations. This business is online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. They're located on High Street, and the Vermillion men are honest men of integrity, men of communication and knowledge, a business that understands sanitary inside and out. They have a mechanic on site to fix your vacuums, your high-dollar vacuums, and a mechanic on site that can help you fix your pool cleaning robots. If you can't fix them, they'll help you find a replacement at more than fair market costs. They offer free in-market delivery. They can get you sanitary supplies to your house faster than any big box brand can. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, 61 years in this community. Vanessa Parkhill says, the Holiday Drive property is not in the heart of Charlottesville. It is a stone's throw from the city-county line. Yeah. It is also a stone's throw from one of the main entrance corridors in Albemarle County. Should definitely be better than a downtown location.
Yeah.
You can get from the downtown mall to Charlotte to 2000 to the Holiday Drive property in less than 10 minutes.
I mean, this is Charlottesville. It's not large.
Bill McChesney says, one thing you are not highlighting, and this is a fair point from William, is the city is taking more property off the tax rolls. And he's highlighting, with the city owning this, tax collection will not be collected on this property. Now, my response to that is, Bill, the incremental tax collection that comes from a cleaned up business district will far supersede the tax collected from this specific property real estate-wise. If this strategy does what it's planned to do, sales tax, meals tax, tourism tax, lodging tax, and real estate values will all increase in value because the most important 8 blocks of the region, the downtown mall, will be beautified as it heads into its 50-year anniversary, the pedestrian downtown mall next year. I've said this once, I'll say it again for anyone that's watching and listening to the program. I've been consistent with this message for about 90 to 120 days. When I determine risk with what I'm investing in, with what I'm when I determine risk for my clients and helping them gain market share, I try to assess what's going on in my hometown, my market. And I truly believe that we are at a bottom for Charlottesville City, and the trajectory is bullish and upward. The 6.2 million, the shelter, the ordinance that follows further strengthens my argument that we are at a bottom for Charlottesville and that the trajectory is looking bullish and upward. 120 marker. I have a 1:30 call. Next headline, Judah Wickower. What is it, my friend?
Oh, Jay Jones.
I mean, Jay Jones is gone from electable to laughing stock. You disagree?
I think it was despicable what he said, but it was 3 years ago. Was it not? I believe it was.
It was 2022. I'm surprised you're going with this argument, but go ahead. I won't interrupt you.
He's apologized. We can call out despicable behavior. I believe we should, but I'm still against this fishing through people's past to find things to cancel them over.
Wow! But you said earlier in the program that Allison Spillman should resign.
She just made that remark like literally the other day.
So the difference between with the Spillman comments comparing high school students to the Ku Klux Klan and Jay Jones, the attorney general candidate who's challenging Jason Miyares, who in 2022, in a text message exchange with Delegate Kerry Coyner, a Republican from Chesterfield, Jay Jones texts Coyner, "I hope that House Speaker Todd Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head," and then follows that statement with a wish that Todd Gilbert's children die in their mother's arms.
It's despicable.
So you give him the benefit of grace because it was 3 years ago, but Spillman doesn't get the same benefit of the grace in your book because it was last week.
They are different circumstances, yes. I think
Jay's circumstances aren't more significant?
I think
murder, children, death, bloodshed?
I think they're despicable. I think they can and should and will affect the outcome of any vote for him. But I'm against, like I said, sifting through people's pasts, looking for reasons to cancel them.
Viewers and listeners, your thoughts on Judah's statement. I find his comments deplorable.
I do too.
Despicable. I think Jay Jones now should drop out of the race.
He probably should.
And the next question is, how much of the stink sticks to Spanberger and other Democrats at the top of the ticket? How much does it trickle down the ticket? How much of these comments become the Terry McAuliffe gaffe from the McAuliffe-Youngkin campaign or election cycle, when McAuliffe said not once, not twice, but 3 times that parents in Virginia should not be a part of their children's public school education and should not take an active role in their educational rearing. McAuliffe lost the race because of those comments. And it had a stinky effect on other Democrats on the ticket.
It should, and it probably will.
John Blair's comments, number 2 in the family. Jerry, on the Jay Jones issue, John Blair says, "I am linking a story about South Carolina judge's home being destroyed by arson over the weekend. While we don't know the perpetrator or motive, it's another case of violence being directed towards a public official. Just think about what we've seen. Donald Trump has been shot. The Minnesota Speaker of the House assassinated. The governor's mansion in Pennsylvania set on fire with the intent to burn the governor alive. Charlie Kirk assassinated, and now an effort to kill a judge in South Carolina in a little over a year. Here's a link to the story." John Blair offers those comments on my LinkedIn. Do we add to that list Allison Spillman's comments about a student body at Western Elmore High School and the Ku Klux Klan?
Do you think that's fair?
I mean, I can't imagine what the parents of the Western Albemarle students who've been acquainted with the KKK must be feeling right now.
Yeah.
Like, if our kids were a part of that organization, my wife, who is
Livid.
the most loyal mama bear, passionate mama bear, would do anything for her children, anything for her boys and me, anything. I can't imagine what my wife would do in regards to the Alice and Spillman stuff. I'm just... I'll leave it at that. Deep Throat's comments. I think the issue with Jay Jones is less about how horrible the comments were or whether he apologized, and more with what it says about his emotional stability. He seems like a very emotionally dysregulated person. That's a problem for an attorney general who is charged with upholding the law in an even-handed way. Do you think someone so emotional can be at all objective? Or is he likely to use his powers to attack and harass ideological enemies using the powers of his office? Fantastic comment.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Good points.
From your travels, Deep Throat. You make the program better. And he also adds something I was talking about this morning with a heavy hitter on the phone prior to the show. Literally had these comments with the heavy hitter this morning, Deep Throat. A heavy hitter who you know. Holiday Drive is a great choice and a great move for the city, but I wonder what the Haven folks will do. Sort of destroys the case for the Haven being where it is, doesn't it? Remember, I've heard scuttlebutt, and I've passed that scuttlebutt on this show, that the team behind the Haven, and I'll call it team, has been inflating the value of the Haven real estate to try to get an exit. You call an exit whatever you want to call it. I'll leave you to determine that. And if that value of the Haven for the exit is not met, then that particular team and outfit will double and triple down on what they're doing in their downtown spot.
Well, here's a good question. Will the new spot on Holiday be providing the same in meals as the Haven provides?
I would say the new spot on Holiday becomes more of a campus than a shelter. I would say the new spot on Holiday takes all the positives that are in the shelters and the soup kitchens. Heck, even what the library is offering the houseless population.
It definitely should, but we don't know that.
And remember, the city's going to allocate $500,000 a year to a nonprofit or a for-profit group, nonprofit or for-profit group, to manage this Holiday Drive position.
If they can find them.
If they could find them. Now, if that Holiday Drive position can find a for-profit organization or a nonprofit organization, and they take the $500,000 from the city, and then they're able to muster fundraising dollars from the business community, they're able to do fundraisers that solicit even more donations, and they're able to get state funding, maybe federal funding, the next thing you know, the operator of this Holiday Drive location could have a multi-million-dollar influx of capital every year. And then either for-profit, nonprofit, this starts becoming the base for a lot of salaries for people. A lot of people don't realize that the nonprofit sector, I have clients that are in the nonprofit sector where we're providing $2.95 an hour consultation services for them. The executive directors of these nonprofits locally, some of these nonprofits are making a couple $100,000 a year, these executive directors in compensation. It's just because it's a nonprofit doesn't mean the C-suite of the nonprofit doesn't make money. One in particular who I'm not going to utilize, I'm not going to name because he's a client, this particular executive director is just under $200,000 a year in total compensation. I'll close the program with this. It's been a good show. Judah Wickhauer has done an excellent job. We'll highlight Conan Owen and Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Locally owned and operated, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia and Conan Owen are who you call for any logo needs, any marketing needs, signage, window decals, banners, direct mail, lanyards, tickets, merch, uniform. Conan Owen, a Darden graduate, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, who our firm utilizes, ladies and gentlemen. And Conan's watching the program. He says, I think the stink clings to all Democrats who do not call for Jay Jones to drop out of the race and for Allison Spillman to resign. Conan Owen with some pointed comments. Thank you for those thoughts, Conan. I'll close with this. The University of Virginia just beat the Louisville football team on Saturday in Kentucky. It took overtime, but it's still a victory nevertheless. And now Virginia finds itself at 5-1 overall, atop the Atlantic Coast Conference standings and in the top 20 of the national rankings as they head into their bye week. Tony Elliott has gone from outhouse to penthouse, ladies and gentlemen. And Virginia football has a clear path to the ACC championship. And if an upset happens in the ACC championship and Virginia wins, and no, I don't think Virginia is going to be favored to beat Miami, and right now it looks like a clash with the Hurricanes in the ACC championship if they get there. But if they make the ACC championship, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Even if they lose to Miami in the ACC championship, you're talking a quality bowl game. You're looking at a football team that very well, ladies and gentlemen, with this University of Virginia football team, could run the rest of its schedule, and that includes a Thanksgiving matchup with Virginia Tech. You have Washington State coming out of the bowl week, out of the bye week for homecoming. That should put you at what? 6-1? Then you're at Chapel Hill in the South's oldest rivalry. You travel cross country to California. You host Wake Forest. You're at Durham against the Blue Devils, and then you host Virginia Tech. Currently, Virginia, according to ESPN, is favored in all those matchups, ladies and gentlemen, right now. What a story. What a ride. And that's a perfect way to end the I Love CVille show. If you need office space in Charlottesville or in Albemarle County of any capacity, no one has more at his disposal than what we do here at the Miller Organization. Email me, call me, DM me, reach out to me. We have office space from $400 a month to $10,000, $12,000 a month. Anything you need. Let me know. Judah Wickower, Jerry Miller, the I Love CVille show.